I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the out of me. Nick.
Name out your mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
I'm going to, okay? Okay. That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay.
He's not really wrong. That will be one of the most talked about nights of television in history.
Yeah.
Yeah, so unless you've been under a rock for the last, no pun intended, for the last about 15 hours or so, you know what happened at the Oscars last night. And I just want to say it is nice for us to have traded in the hashtag #OscarSoWhite for Oscar So Violent. That's a nice change. I think we were due for that. Welcome to wjlive. I'm Josh Manning, Deputy Managing Editor for Assignment at the Western Journal. Here on the show today, Michael Austin with me, Supervising Reporter at the Western Journal. We are pleased to be with you. Thank you for taking time out of your Monday to spend with us. We appreciate it. So this episode is going to be about Will Smith and the slap heard round the world. It is the only thing in the news today, folks.
Yeah.
By the way, if you have been, if you do the job we do, which is come in and read the news and look for stories that might be interesting for you all, you would see that is the only thing being talked about. And so Michael and I thought we would unpack it a little bit. And the thing that is, there are lots of compelling things about this. A guy slapping another guy, it being on national TV, the Oscars foundering, needing higher ratings, infidelity involved, jokes about wives, masculinity. There's all kinds of stuff. I thought the most compelling thing in this, aside from the slap itself, was what happened just a few seconds before he got up and before Smith got up and slapped Chris Rock. Can we run that again?
Yeah.
And just cut off before the slap.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
So Will looks like he's
that was a
kind
nice
of in a good
one.
mood.
Okay. I'm out here.
No.
Richard. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
Right here. Will likes it. Will thinks it's funny.
Jada, not so much.
That was a nice one. Okay.
Jada, not so much. So what was it? It looked like the joke landed fine.
For one of those two.
For one of them.
I mean, yeah, it looked like he thought it was funny. But his wife, who has sort of established herself as the more toxic member of that relationship, seemed to have not been taken.
Okay,
so
explain
well.
it, because we were talking about that this morning. I don't follow celebrity stuff generally. I did not know about this.
Yeah.
Our viewers might not.
So there was this big controversy over the past couple of years, I believe, where, it was discovered that Jada Pinkett Smith was sleeping around with other people. People called her a cheater. Then she's like, "Oh no, you know what? We have an open marriage now. We can go."
Because if you agree, it's not cheating. It's not adultery.
I
if
think
you
it was.
agree
I
on
think
it
it was cheating at first. It's just then she got him to agree to have an open marriage afterwards. And you can watch all these really embarrassing, really cringy interviews that the two of them did together, where they talk about the infidelity / now we have an open marriage. And you could tell the whole time that Will Smith is extremely uncomfortable, and
as he should be.
And his wife is just kind of going on this like, well, we have to do what makes us happy, and like it just makes me really happy, and I like being with other people, and Yeah, she basically just kind of convinced him to go along with all of it.
I'm not aware of any data that says that infidelity makes you happy in the long run.
She said, we just need to do what makes us happy. And yeah, when you sleep with someone, that could be enjoyable in the moment, but that doesn't. Doing whatever is enjoyable. Like I could just go out and do all the drugs in the world right now. I could go start doing meth, and sure, that would feel great.
But you know who tends to enjoy infidelity the less? The person being cheated on.
Yeah.
So she says, if it makes us feel better, and by us, I Jada mean me. Jada. That's what's going on.
It's very much this kind of It's this. We have a culture of self right now, and that's kind of the tone of a lot of what she was saying was, I need to take care of me, and that's going to be what's best for our relationship. Is that if I do what's best for me, you do what's best for you, then together we can be best for each other. And that's obviously the exact opposite of what a relationship should be.
Healthy relationship, biblical relationship. Okay, so there's this. That's the background to this.
Yes.
So he's been hurt by this.
Yeah.
She's kind of overly sensitive to it. And then what happens? Rock makes the joke.
Yep.
Will laughs about it, and
Jada is not. She looks extremely upset. And then we don't get to see what's happening after that. And then all of a sudden, Will Smith's walking on stage and he's slapping the crap out of Chris Rock. And he's saying, don't you keep my wife's name out of your mouth. Like, to me, this is clearly all about the infidelity. It's all about Will Smith's insecurity. He's not secure in that marriage. And so, he can't defend his wife from sleeping with all these other guys. And so, well, what I can do is defend someone for making fun of her for having alopecia. Yeah.
Such a brutal joke. The alopecia jokes, they really should be off limits, shouldn't they?
It is a nasty joke, but, it's the opposite.
It is. But I mean, compared to the jokes that are told all day, every day. I mean,
it's nothing compared to the stuff people were saying about Mel Gibson after his whole.
There
were years of really incredible.
Yeah, no kidding.
And they were well earned, but still.
So is the thinking here that Will is just like a puppy and will do whatever he thinks will make Jada feel happy, or that he's trying to win her back, or is this him compensating for feeling weak?
So he went on later in the night. Will Smith won the best actor in a leading role for King Richard.
Yeah.
And he kind of defended himself in his acceptance speech, and he said, Richard Williams was a fierce defender of his family. And, when you're in love with someone, you can do crazy things when you're in love. And that's
like
not
sleep
true.
With other people.
But it's not true that love makes you do crazy things. Love makes you gentle. It makes you kind. It makes you wiser.
Yeah, ooh, that's good. That's good.
What makes you do crazy things like this is if your wife's sleeping around and you don't know if you're not confident and you don't feel safe and secure in that relationship. That's what makes you go out and physically assault someone for teasing her for having short hair.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's good. So, all right, well, then that brings us to a post from a friend of mine that I saw on Facebook, and he said, last night on stage with Will Smith and Chris Rock, masculinity was really on display, and it wasn't Will Smith. His point was that Rock took the shot. It sounded like a hard slap. I mean, the mics picked it up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty impressive. And Rock, he took the slap. He was kind of stunned by it, and then he just kept rolling.
Yeah.
And sort of much like you were saying about, look, love doesn't make you go out and, smack somebody around,
right?
Generally. Masculinity doesn't necessarily randomly sort of attack someone. And you can say it's not a random attack, but it kind of is, because, that joke I don't think merited some sort of assault.
No. Yeah.
Or battery, pardon me. So masculinity, in a way, is sort of, it's a little bit like meekness. Meekness is one of the Beatitudes, and people think that means kind of gentleness or almost helplessness or weakness, and that's not what meekness means. If you look at the word and its denotation, it means controlled strength. And I imagine Chris Rock could have let loose on Will Smith if he had wanted to.
Yes.
It would have been amazing television. Absolutely amazing television.
He gets hit hard and he's not crying about it. He's not.
No, he sprang right back.
He wasn't like running away from Will Smith. He did not come off like someone who just couldn't do anything about it.
No.
In fact, he looked like he wanted to do and say quite a few things about it, but he held his composure in, he held himself together, and yeah, that's masculinity right there.
It is. It's it's sort of the definition of it too, and being willing to open yourself up to an attack like that or take the risk of being attacked like that. What Smith did was not particularly masculine. It was just reactionary in a physical way.
And his form on the slap actually looked relatively feminine if you take a closer look at that.
Can we do that? Let's see Will Smith's girly slap, Russ. Can you run that?
You see, just take a look at how the wrist comes out and just kind of...
Jada, I love you.
Not the best form.
Ow!
Go back.
Oh, wow!
Yeah.
One more time, Russ. One more time.
We're making our producers work extra.
Jada? Oh, wow!
Oh, he barely.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean it.
Yeah.
He really did take it well. I mean, his
yeah.
torso twisted, and he
Yeah.
barely stepped back and came
Yeah.
right back up front.
Yeah.
But it's not a particularly masculine thing to get physical with somebody. There are times when you need to,
Right.
but I don't think that's what this was. And Rock's control, and, we're not taught that. We're taught. So there's an interesting thought. We're taught about toxic masculinity. The media, academia love to talk about toxic masculinity. I think what we saw there was unbelievably virtuous masculinity to the extent that Rock took it. And he didn't do anything with it. And that is the mark of a man. I mean, you can take something like that and you can deal with it.
Well, and I do think part of masculinity is having the ability to get really violent. And like that's what I see in Rock. When he's standing there, it's like I could be sending it right back at you, but I'm just gonna keep myself together because I'm the adult in this situation.
So that was you and I can't remember if we talked about this on our little podcast the other day or not, but C.S. Lewis, he was describing what chivalry is. He wrote a little piece on chivalry, and he said that essentially chivalry is what you see embodied in Lancelot. Lancelot's able to go out and slay the Black Knight and slay the dragon and get muddy and dirty and bloody and brutal. But he's also able to come back, clean up, eat at the round table, woo, who was it? I can't remember now, the love interest. But he's able to live kind of in both worlds. And that's what masculinity should be. Masculinity should not be. If you've got too much of either of those, you end up in a perversion of it, which is either super violent or not able to impose violence.
Well, and if you go too far, if you don't have the ability to be violent when you need to be, which is kind of the way our society, because of leftism entering the culture, we're teaching men that no, physical violence is never the answer. You never want to have the
it's just
the
such a
ability
laughable
to do
comment. You hear it said all the violence is never the answer.
But when you don't have that, it actually does. It ends up tilting back into physical violence because you feel that frustration, you feel that inability to do anything. Like you don't have the power to do anything. You feel like you're trapped in a corner. Then you lash out like slapping in a feminine way.
Yeah, and the underlying Jordan Peterson's been castigated for. I think it was he who made the observation that there is an underlying threat of violence in most masculine interactions, and I think that's true. But it's super useful.
Yeah.
Too. It's incredibly useful because if I know that if I smack Michael, he's going to smack me back, there's less chance of me smacking Michael, especially considering he is way bigger than I am.
Yeah.
So it is actually useful, and you can see that on the international level too. I mean, look at what happened. Look at the world with Trump v. Putin versus Biden v. Putin.
Right.
With Trump, you've got somebody who, you can say whatever you want about Trump, but he was not the kind who would take. He was the kind
Yeah.
who would hit back when it was necessary.
Right.
And I think Putin knew that. And I think with Biden, Putin sees someone who is weak and will not hit back and is afraid to.
Yeah, and that doesn't. This isn't necessarily like, oh, who would win in a fight, Trump or Putin, but just having the courage.
No, it's the threat.
Having the courage and that kind of masculine energy of like, yeah, I am a man and I'm going to do something.
The
about
willingness,
this.
the
So,
willingness to confront
Right.
violence with violence,
Yeah.
not necessarily confronting it with, but the willingness to do
Yes.
it. So one of the things that people began talking about pretty quickly was Smith ended up walking away with the Oscar, as you mentioned earlier. And so I'm trying to picture other venues in the United States, other circumstances where someone can get up, batter someone else, then win a prestigious, go back to his seat,
Right.
not worried about security, not worried about anything, win a prestigious award, and then get sympathy.
I mean, probably only the left wing, only things run by leftists could you get away with that. I mean,
Yeah,
nothing,
yeah,
nothing other than that. Yeah.
Yeah, there are no conservatives who would tolerate that, I don't think.
A fun little whataboutism that I've been seeing kind of being passed around about this is just what if Chris Rock had insulted the wife of some random white celebrity and that guy had gone up and slapped him in the face? Would have had nothing. Probably would have had
Can
nothing
you
to do about
imagine?
race. It would have been all about the insult and the retaliating to the insult. And yet, the whole media would be talking about racism and white privilege and violence against Black lives and all that.
Who would
stuff.
it have been?
Who would it have been?
Gary Busey?
Yeah. I did see Mel Gibson. in
Mel
that.
Gibson.
we
Mel
mentioned
Gibson.
It's
Yeah.
our second Mel Gibson reference for the
He
episode.
would. Well, Rock would have had to be Jewish for that
Yeah.
to happen.
Like,
so.
Yeah. All right.
I think he's past that. I think
Yeah.
he's past
it was
it.
a rough.
I
it was
hope
a
he
rough-
is.
That was a rough day for him.
But what is that? I was talking to somebody earlier today, and I was saying, like, okay, is this some weird extension of the everybody gets a trophy rule? Is it now the case that you can get an Oscar?
Well,
Your behavior doesn't matter as long as the left approves of you.
right. I mean, yeah, it's complicated. I mean, look, the left hasn't even come out against Smith completely. Like
Yeah.
he has quite a few defenders.
Oh, an enormous number.
because his wife has alopecia, which is a condition common among
apparently a leftist
African
cause now.
Americans. Where
Oh, is it?
It's an autoimmune disorder where you don't grow as much hair.
It's more present in African.
I believe
African
it's.
American
I believe
populations?
so. I believe that's.
didn't
what
know that.
Yeah, I believe so. Sorry if I'm wrong, and that's somehow super racist or something, but I believe that condition is more common in.
Well,
African
no, it's not race. Sickle cell is more common, and
Yeah.
And hypertension more common in black communities.
But so a lot of people have been coming to her defense and saying, well, obviously he had to smack Chris Rock. You got to defend. I've even seen some conservatives say, back in the day, if you insulted one of the founding fathers' wives, they would have come out and smacked you. I'm like,
I'm not positive about that.
I don't know about that either. Yeah.
I cannot imagine George Washington doing that. Of course,
No.
I can't imagine anybody mocking Martha Washington.
Right. I
but-
think the decorum back then.
But yeah, you just
no idiot
don't-
would have been mocking his
yeah.
wife.
So, okay, well, that brings up another question then. Is this just yet another, we found yet a lower rung still on the ladder to cultural destruction?
Well, the the left wing view of this incident in general has been one. This is an argument between two black bodies. So if you're a white person, you should have no opinion about this.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah,
first of all,
yeah.
don't even get engaged in the debate.
Oh.
And then the second argument has been Chris Rock was mocking someone for a condition that they had, some sort of disorder or whatever, a disease. And you got to protect, the intersectional groups. And so you have the right. So I've actually seen, they've been saying this, that Rock's words were violence. And that the only way to respond to that violence is if Will Smith got up there and used some violence of his own.
So you talk about setting the stage for the future. If words are violent, you can respond to violent words with violence.
And you're going to see there's not going to be huge repercussions. Maybe Will Smith will have to be trotted out and say he's sorry, but no, like we're heading into a world right now where words are seen, like what Chris Rock said and what Will Smith did are seen as
the same
exactly
level.
the same thing.
And one of the favorite critiques of the left against conservative speech is that it's violent.
Yeah. Well, and that's, you had all these, Amy Schumer and all these celebrity feminists on there just saying, hey, everybody in Florida, guess what? We're going to have a gay night, just making fun of the Don't Say Gay bill, which none of them have ever read in their lives. Doesn't have the word gay in it anywhere. But they think, to those people, this is not any more of an act of violence than what Chris Rock said. The slap isn't more violence than what Chris Rock said. And if you attacked, let's say, some people that didn't want you to teach, sexuality to K through third graders, well, those are equal levels of violence to them as well. Yeah. It just sort of speaks to where this culture is at right now, where it's headed, and why nobody is watching this show. Guess what? A lot of people are saying this is a hoax that they did to gain ratings for the show. Ratings aren't going up after this. I hate to break it to you. This isn't helping at all. People are going to watch the video on Twitter, and they are never going to tune in to the Oscars ever again.
Yeah. I mean, if that were true, what a desperate move.
There's no way. It is impossible that that's true.
It was an awful if it was AstroTurf, that was an awful loud slap. Rock was willing to literally take it on the chin for I guess they could have paid him $100,000 or something.
Right.
But I don't know that I would let someone smack me in front of a crowd for $100,000. I probably
These
would.
guys don't need the money.
They don't. Yeah, and Jada Pinkett, I mean, I don't exactly see a remarkably sympathetic character there either. I mean, she's there. I don't go for the shaved head look, but she looks beautiful.
Yeah, she does.
I mean, just gorgeous. She's decked out, beautiful jewelry. I mean, she's not exactly it's not exactly an attack on the underclass or someone who is someone who can't defend herself, doesn't have the means to protect herself or to fight back. So this makes me think, though, to talk about violence, it makes me think back to a couple weeks ago when Facebook and Instagram said that they were going to essentially kick Russia off. They were going to deplatform them.
Right.
And that they were also going to censor pro-Russian comments. Pro-Russian posts. Right. And that just struck me immediately because I was thinking, well, okay, they are totally setting the stage for something they can do to conservatives later. All you have to do is say conservatives are dangerous, then you ban them and you censor anybody who's supporting them.
Yeah. If we simply say we don't want to support Ukraine, we don't like Russia, but we don't want to support Ukraine, is that a pro-Russia post?
Yeah, well, who knows? Who knows? Yeah, and that's it. It depends on what the powers that be, they say. But this strikes me as something similar. Like, I could totally see that being weaponized against conservatives in the future. I can completely see this being weaponized against conservatives in the future, or Trump supporters specifically. Yeah. Oh, well, Trump stands for violence, and the pro-Trump commentariat out there, their speech is violent.
Yeah.
Therefore, we should be able to respond in a violent manner.
It's the motto of Antifa. That's like what they do. It's violence. Trump's words are violence, and so we need to go out and destroy a bunch of buildings, and to save Black lives, we need to burn down a bunch of Black-owned businesses for some reason, which I guess makes sense to them in the moment. But
I don't know. You do sort of wonder. Well, I don't know how much it makes sense to them. I think they view them as part of the casualties of war.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. I'm sorry. I hate to destroy your business, brother. But you got to take one for the team on this. So the last thing I was sort of interested in is 24 hours before, there's another large event taking place that did get some national, it depended on who you were watching, but there were ways to watch it across the nation. And that was Donald J. Trump rally in Georgia. And again, if we listen to the media, if we listen to academe, Trump and his followers and acolytes and voters are inherently violent. Yet somehow this event went off without a hitch.
Yeah.
It seemed to be completely peaceful. No problems whatsoever.
So you had a violent attack against a Black man at the Oscars, and then you had absolutely just a completely peaceful, kind of celebratory, a lot of probably a diverse audience. You probably had a lot of conservatives of all, colors and creeds in there.
Yeah, if you think that obviously Trump is considered. They say Trump is a total racist, and the people who follow him are racist. Right. You would think that they would not want people of color in the audience.
Yeah.
Yet I'm watching the screen, and there is a black guy just stage right of Trump in the back applauding the stuff Trump says. So that's what's always confused me about this. It seems that the racist Trump supporters are like the worst racists ever because they don't seem to hate minorities.
Well, the thing about that was, back in 2016, I think Trump wasn't as clear as he could have been. So there were, at his rallies, you would see people with, if you have a Confederate flag, that doesn't mean you're racist, but, it doesn't mean you're not racist. So you saw a lot of Confederate flags, you saw a lot of racists attend his rallies. You didn't see that as much in 2020.
No.
Because after he was president for 4 years, it was pretty clear, this is one of the best presidents, one of the most, he's doing the most for black communities of any of the past several presidents, way more, he didn't destroy the black community like Barack Obama did. He actually did things to help them make economic gains.
Or Bill Clinton, for that matter.
Opportunity zones and the platinum plan or whatever that.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name of it.
Anyway, and school choice, but,
Yeah, and you're right. Obama was disastrous for black Americans. Clinton was disastrous for black Americans. Yeah. If you want to accept the premise that, oh my gosh, there's a school to prison pipeline, that blacks are disproportionately imprisoned for no reason other than skin color, all you have to do is look back to the crime bills of the 1990s.
Clinton.
That, by the way, Joe Biden supported.
Yep, Biden. Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, so, Oscars are horrible and racist and evil, and black people are being assaulted every second, and Trump rallies are bastions of equality and peace. I think that's what we've learned.
Imagine that. Imagine that. All right. Well, you got anything else on this?
That was pretty good.
I think we've run this into the ground.
Yeah.
So I'll apologize to you in advance on behalf of everyone in the media, because you will continue to see commentary on this for days afterward, and there is almost nothing new under the sun can be said about this after today. But anyway, we will try to bring you new information and new news in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Remember, we're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. If you're watching online, be sure to click the subscribe button. After that, click the little bell that's going to pop up. That's going to make sure you get notified every time we go live. We are still, best I can tell, we're still being throttled by Facebook. It does look like that's getting better. Thank you for your prayers as far as that goes. We ask you to continue to pray. And if you feel led to support us in a more direct way, you can go to westernjournal.com/join. That's westernjournal.com/join. There's several ways there that you can partner with us to push back against big tech, to speak the truth, to declare the truth, to declare Christ's love, essentially to stand up for the things that are right, to stand up for America as well in ways that big tech does not want to happen. We're dependent on advertising from big tech, so every time someone subscribes to the Western Journal, that makes us that much less dependent on big tech and able to function autonomously and speak the truth without the worry of censorship. Let's see here. I think that's it for the day. Yep. For Michael, I'm Josh Manning with the Western Journal. This has been wjlive. We're going to see you back here Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. Till then, stay safe.